Hey folks, Ariel over here. Might remember from about a year and a half ago, I had a little video tour of my one brother's cabin. One of my brothers moved fairly close to us. He's only a few miles away, and he lives in a little off-grid cabin as well. Anyway, I've got lots and lots of questions since then about is he still there and how he's doing, and that video was filmed in the winter, and he is still there. It's now summer, so we thought we'd do a little update on how things are looking around his place for all of you guys that are interested in that. But yep, he's still here. We still like being neighbor-ishes, and he's got a lot of really cool things going on around here. If you haven't seen the first video, it includes some info on his setup that's not in this one, so you might want to go check that out. But hopefully this answers all the questions about how things are going at his place.
Oh, welcome to my house. Let's go inside and see what it looks like. So, over here is my kitchen. Pretty much the same as the last time you filmed. I believe I had the same stove. But I would like to find a different countertop, but this one's working just fine. I did add up here just food storage. So, just some 1x6s going across. I store food and whatnot up there. So, been using this stove for about a year and a half. It's just a Camp Chef outdoor stove, but I use it indoors. Everything works great on it. The oven, it's a little dirty, but it cooks things just fine. The burners work great. There's not really a great intermediate setting. It's either high or low, but I cook everything on high because that's just how I cook. So, other than that, the stove works great. I like it. I wouldn't change it out. Still rocking the same refrigerator, a little Alpi-Cool. It's been going good. It's about time to thaw the freezer out, but I haven't done that in over a year, so it's handling it pretty well. Then in here I have a 500 watt hour, what do they call it, solar generator. It's just a battery pack with an inverter. Same one I've been using for, year and a half now? And maybe about 2 years. I used it in the camper before living in here, and it works great. So I just have my cords coming out so I can charge phones and speakers and whatnot, and then run the refrigerator. And that's all that battery runs, unless I'm running the generator. We do have the light up there, and that's got its own little solar power or solar panel out front, and it's just like an outdoor light or a shed light. I built a little ladder. It was supposed to be temporary, but it's turned into more permanent. So that just goes up to the loft where I just have a mattress, and then that's all that's up in that loft. I did make the ladder removable so that I could come over here if I want to get anything out of this loft. And I can access lofts because they're both at the same height. So it's a multi-purpose ladder. I'm using this little tiny wood stove. This is the one that came out of Ariel's tiny house. And I've been using it for 2 winters now. It heats great. We have the straight chimney versus where she had the zigzag one that went through the wall. That always had problems. So this works great. It stays clear. Doesn't build up creosote, and it draws really well. So, I mean, the stove's been keeping this place warm, even though it's not very big, but I've had no complaints with it. Never needed supplemental heat or anything. And it's pretty easy to cook yourself out of here if the weather's above 0. This whole wall here is like almost directly, pretty much exactly south facing, and it's all gray on the outside. And during the winter, while I'm gone, I'll open the curtains up and I'll let that solar gain come in, and it'll actually warm the house up. I pretty much only run the wood, I do only run the wood stoves in the evening, because I'm gone all day at work. I don't fire it up in the morning unless it's really, really cold outside, like negative 20, 30, 40. But the house will warm up just from the solar gain if the sun's out. And then I can close all the curtains and run the wood stove in the evening and into the night, and keeps the place warm. The opposite has been true with the summer. Right now I have all the windows open because it's evening, but I'll leave them open all night, and then first thing in the morning, like even before the sun gets up, I'll close all the windows and close all the curtains, and it'll be like it's air conditioned in here all day. So it works both ways. Sun doesn't hit the big wall during the summer. It's directly overhead, and actually some in the evening hits the back wall. So there is no solar gain hitting this other than early morning, but it's gone by like 10 o'clock in the morning this time of year. So it's all hitting the roof, and that's well insulated, and there's not as much sun hitting the walls to heat up the inside. Alright, so this is Happy. He's named Happy because he's the happiest little cat ever. He just likes to run around and catch mice and rodents, which is his job, and then he likes to sleep in the house whenever he gets a chance, and he just loves being petted. So
this little guy's been purring every time a person touched him since before his eyes were open. He's the friendliest cat in the world, I think. I don't know if the camera's picking up, but he's purring right now. Meow. You want back outside?
So I built this bathroom since the last time we did a video. I built a little sliding door. So that's just built out of 1x6s and 1x4s. I don't know the exact dimensions on the bathroom, but about 4 feet by, I'm going to say 8 feet. So it's cozy, but it works well. I saved this area for the entrance, so I can still hang all my stuff over there and just in a big pile. Inside the bathroom, we have the same sink I was using before, just relocated. So same setup. I have the same water thing. Still collect all the water in the sink in a 5-gallon bucket. Don't know if I will do something different in the future or not, but currently I just haul that out, dump it in the compost bin, keeps things wet. I did build a shower here. Let me take this curtain off so we can see it easier. So this is just a stock watering tank for horses. I did put a drain in the bottom, so the water will drain out. I've been using this for showering. It is, I saw in the last video some people had asked what this was. This is I don't know what it's called, but there's the name. You can look it up on Amazon. It's real cheap, but it's just an electric pump. You turn it on, drop that in your water, and you have running hot water. Well, you have running water. I have this pot, which I just fill up and I heat on the stove, and then drop it in there. And that's how I have running hot water for showers. And that one pot, I think it's about 2.5 gallons, and it's enough if you're quick in the shower. And then over in this corner, if you come around here, I have my toilet. It fits snugly into that corner. So everything is really nice and cozy in the bathroom. I do need to paint the walls. My plan was to do that this summer, and it is summer and I still haven't done it, so we'll get around to that at some point. Let's see what else. I built a little desk out of some scrap 2x4s and metal. That kind of matches the height of my dresser, so I have somewhere to sit, work at the computer, which I don't do often, or eat, or I don't know. It's another flat surface to collect junk, which is always important. But other than that, it's the house. I mean, there's not a lot. I got some storage up there of just random stuff. You know, a little bit of food, a little bit of supplies, a little bit of whatnots. So that's the inside of the house. Got my snowshoes here. These are just military surplus. I think you can find them at most military surplus stores. They're just magnesium. They're super lightweight, cheap. I think they were about $35-45. They work really good. They're really wide, so the soft, fluffier snow we have here works well. I'm not a small guy. I'm about 250 pounds. And they did really well. I did an overnight camping trip in the snow this winter, and I had no complaints with those. Took a little bit of getting used to the kind of waddling walk that you got to do, but other than that, they were fine. So, right outside the door, I have this little table, which holds my little grill. It was going to be temporary, but like many things, it became permanent. And so I can prepare food, or when I pull onions out of the garden, put them on there, all that kind of stuff.
I can vouch for his grill being wonderful because he makes the most awesome smoked trout in the world on it.
Well, it's an art. Not really. It's pretty easy, actually. Just found an old shed to replace that I hung up on the wall to replace my little rotting hanger that was falling apart. So in the barrels there is ashes in this one, which bush I need to do something with. And then these two here just have firewood in, or had it. They're both empty at the moment. And over here, this is just fire starter for the wood stove, so it's sawdust and diesel fuel mix. That's everything that's on the porch. I did put this grate in the porch here, so I can keep my shoes clean. And I can just lift it out and get anything out from underneath. That was just something I got from work, or the piece, and I thought, man, that'll be nice for my right out front of the door. Over here is a new garden bed I put in, and I've got potatoes, onions in there. There's some voluntary sunflowers coming up through the blocks there. The onions are growing good. The potatoes are looking smaller than the other beds, but healthy, so that's a good thing. Put a little over here. Put a little. I think this is a Nanking cherry. Yes, that's what that is. So that should get, I don't know, about 10 feet tall, maybe yay-ish wide. Kind of block some of that early morning sun to that corner of the house. Let's go around this way, around the property. We'll make a full loop. So, got some mullein. That's just a voluntary plant. That's a little voluntary bush, so we're going to let them grow up and see what they become. I have my generator over here. And if you come in close, because it's hiding in the weeds, this is where the shower drain goes to. So it just comes out of the wall right there. And I put this underneath of it. And I collect all the water from when I shower, and then I can use that water to water things, or put it in the compost bin, or wherever I need to. So that's all the plumbing. Really short chunk of it. So when I run the generator, that actually fires up all the outlets inside that are live. And I can use it to charge my batteries if need be. Currently, I don't have enough batteries to run the pellet grill, so I do have to fire it up to run that. So I'm running it more than I'd like at the moment, but I just need to go to a store that has batteries and buy more of it. Let's see, over here, I planted this peach tree, and it is somewhat alive. It got hit pretty hard by the frost, but it's coming back. I got some strawberries planted underneath them. All the trees I planted around here, I just put strawberries underneath because I could. And so I put in these little rock terraces here. I dug another little terrace there. There's another peach tree, I forget. One is a Reliance, one is a Contender. I forget which one's which. But they both seem to be surviving so far. This is a cherry. Don't remember the variety, maybe a Bing.
No, it's an Evans Bolly.
Oh, Evans Bolly, that's right. And that one's looking really healthy, although the blooms froze off at the first thing. Up here is another apple tree. I don't remember the name off the top of my head. I do have it all written down. So, and that one's looking good. Then there's this apple tree, which was looking, I thought it was dead. Everything died off on it. And it tried to sprout some other kind of tree out of the bottom. And then I just kept breaking those branches off, and eventually it came back, so it might survive. I'm kind of hoping it does. Oh, the wires keep deer off, because I'm sure the deer would just love to eat some peaches, apples, and cherry trees. So that's the purpose for the wiring. Hopefully once they get tall enough the deer can't hurt them, I can get rid of that, but I'm sure I'm years away from that being a reality. Follow the path uphill. It just goes up, loops around. Up behind that bush I have a compost bin. And the reason for the path is so when I have stuff on the four-wheeler, I can just go up in a big loop and by the compost bin dump it and come back down. So that's all that path does. It's just one little loop. I might make it bigger eventually, but we'll see. I'm still using this little shed because I thought I wouldn't be by now, but it's turned out to just be handy. So I may end up just keeping it. And then the same with that. That's the old wood bin, but now it's housing snow blowers for the summer. Got all my dead thistles I pulled out and threw up here to die so that they don't replant. Over here is the junk pile. So all the scrap wood, everything I want to store. There's actually two slots. There should be my other kayak should be in there, but it's over there because I've been using it a lot this summer. So I put other things in its hole. But I can store my two kayaks in here, all my scrap wood, extra propane. I got sunflower seeds in here for the bird feeder. Then I got a water tank, which I fill out of the truck. So I fill that up, and then I can just use my watering can. And this does the same thing, just an extra bin I had. Just dip my water out of there and water my garden. So that's all the water tanks do. They also water the deer and everything else that's around here. Yeah, so the board, that's just so the cats, because they like to drink out of it. They refuse to drink out of their water bin. So they can get down to it, and also any like bees or anything, bugs that get in there can just get out and not die in the water. So that was my simple fix to that. As far as lawnmower, I have no idea the year on this thing, but it's just a push reel mower. You just push it, cuts grass. I think most people would be familiar with what that is. Found that at a garage sale for, I'd like to say $5 if I remember, and I couldn't turn that down. So this is my little shed. I just keep all my tools and hand tools and whatnot in there. Any extra totes or crates or anything I just want to keep out of the weather I put in there. It's not very big, but I make do with the space. This here is actually just a bunch of firewood. So someone was getting rid of a bunch of firewood that was already cut up. They wanted to get rid of it for free, and they had it already in the bin. So I'll get rid of that once I burn it all. The main garden that's fenced in away from the deer. So I've got peas down the center of this one, and then onions on both sides, which I think they're all competing for sunlight at this point. I got another bed of potatoes here, and then I got lettuces, I got carrots, which are coming up slowly, but they're getting there, and then 2 different varieties of garlic growing. But that's all that's in here. It's pretty small, pretty simple garden. So last year I grew all the same stuff, just in different quantities, because this is my second year gardening. And so I had smaller quantities of everything because I didn't have the extra bed over by the house. These peas are actually starting to form, I just noticed that. So maybe I'll actually have some pea harvest soon. But all the same stuff I grew last year, it all grew well. I'll grow it again. It's all the main staple foods that I eat. So last year I had not nearly enough onions. So I ran out of them pretty quick. Ariel gave me a bunch, which held me through. I did have a lot of potatoes. I gave about 2 crates total worth away. Some as seed potatoes to a guy locally, and some I just took into work and gave to people. And we'll have, when we get back around to the root cellar, I'll show you that, because I did put a root cellar in. And there's still a few potatoes in there, and we'll see how they're doing. So I planted more potatoes this year, because I had too many last year, so I figured more is better. I planted more garlic, and I planted more onions, and more lettuce, and less carrots, because I had too many carrots last year. And then I planted not enough peas, because I don't have enough room for enough peas, but I planted as many as I could get. And so that's kind of how the quantities are working out. Happy wants to eat all my carrots, or at least walk over them. Yeah. You're not supposed to be in the garden, are you? And then water just comes out, I stick it in there just because it holds the hose from falling out. Through your hydrant at your house. I fill it up there about once a week or so. Then I can just grab a watering can full. I usually put about 1 watering can on each half of the garden bed, so 2 watering cans per garden bed. Do that every night so it can soak in and not evaporate right away. We got tea planted on this hillside. I just wanted it to go wild and grow, and it is doing what tea does best and going wild and growing. So these were just individual little clumps everywhere, and now this is completely filled in. It's growing all the way back to the shed over there. There's a bunch of grass. I should go weed it, but I haven't.
But it's also helping hold your wall from...
It's holding the dirt from eroding, which is why I'm letting all of this stuff grow. So I'm just want roots in that bank. Here's another, I believe this is a Goodland apple. I planted this here. It's got little apples all over it, and it's looking pretty good. Over here on this side of the garden, I kind of wanted to block the views out that way, so I planted some forsythia, which are growing nicely, but they should get to a good 10 feet tall or so and make a nice hedge along here. So I got these 4 planted in here, and then if you come over here, over my dirt pile, I do actually have up in here 3 Siberian pea shrubs, or canna lilies they're called.
Caraganas.
Or caraganas, sorry. Not canna lilies. Everything else is growing taller than them, but there is 3 of them in there just to grow up to help, just provide a hedge. So I got my camper kind of tucked away in this little corner so you can't see it very well, but this is what I lived in for the whole first year I was here. Well, summer, not whole year. And then I kept it because it's not a great camper, but it was really cheap. So I have it in case I want to go camping. It's worth maybe $1,000, so it's not really worth selling at this point, but I'll hold on to it and maybe use it some more. Over here we got the same 2 solar panels I've been using, and I got my stairs, which has completely rotted away way quicker than I thought, so I'm actually going to dig into the bank and put rocks in and make a rock stairway that goes up, because that's just not holding up. But the solar panels they're working great. Over here I have my root cellar. So, if you come over here and look in, it's just a hole in the ground with an insulated lid. My potatoes are starting to sprout, but they've been in there for, boy, I don't know, I dug them in probably October. So, 9 months maybe. Oh, nope, don't get down in there.
And I can vouch for that when our potatoes, stored in a fairly cool place, had foot-long sprouts, Micah's in his cellar still looked like the day they were dug, so this was definitely a success.
And if you look down here, I have a low vent, and then over there I have a high vent, so air can circulate through. And hold on, let me get this cat out of here. Oh, he's out. Okay. So this cellar was just dug by hand. I dug down. It was going to be a lot bigger, but I hit solid rock, and after chiseling through that for weeks, I decided that this is the size it's going to be, and it's been plenty adequate on the size. If you come over here, I'll show you the other end of this vents. So I just got my upper and lower vents, and I have these caps currently not on there, but I can screw on during the winter just to keep the thing from freezing, but that just allows air to circulate through and keep the humidity down. Probably would have been better to use bigger pipe, but I learned that after I built it. So during the winter, I had 2 thermometers in there. One was saying it was below freezing, like around 31, 32. The other one was saying it was about 33, 35. But nothing froze, so I think it was closer to 33, 35 degrees in there in the hardest part of winter. But right now, I have a digital thermometer, so it's been hovering right about 53 degrees, 54 degrees in there all summer so far. And we've had a lot of hot days, which is good, because that's a good temperature to keep things at. So I don't think stuff will freeze in there, but I do have a thermometer in there that I can actually monitor it without having to open it now. So this next winter will be telling as to how things go. This is just a shed that just holds propane tanks. So just wanted to keep the sun off them so they don't get hot and so they're less unsightly. So that's all it's in that little thing. Although Happy has learned, that's the bedroom window, that he can crawl up the wall and hang on the screen and meow at me in the middle of the night when he wants inside. So we're going to have to teach him that that's not okay. So this pathway here, I just made out of flat-ish rocks that I could find. So just dug out the shape of each rock and leveled it up with the finest gravel I could dig out of my driveway. And kind of set each one in. And that's pretty much all the walkway is. It took a good year before they really settled and weren't rocking under my feet, but now they're pretty solid and none of them rock, so it's not the straightest path in the world, but I didn't string a line, I just went for it. These are all service berries. This is what most of the bushes you see on the hillside are. They'll be ready later in the fall, but they make a really tasty little berry, and there's so many of them around here. But this is my favorite bush because it's big and gives me privacy. And all the little birds love to hang out in it and then fly over to the feeders and fly back to it. But it's a very, very healthy looking bush, growing lots of berries, and so we'll take care of it. It's actually about 8 bushes in a clump. That's another mullein plant no, I think that, is this concrete?
Thanks for spending your valuable time with us,
I hope you learned something interesting and useful.
or found something beautiful here.